Welcome back! Today we are talking about one of my favorite subjects, and that is relationship building. Certainly, I've made some of my closest friends this way. I've had my most career-defining moments through relationship building. Like, my life has been changed just through relationship building. And I know that for a lot of people, the idea of networking can sound really scary and intimidating. And believe it or not, I'm actually an introvert, so I do get it. But that's why I want to reframe it as relationship building. Because to me, networking is kind of this like sterile, scary word. But relationship building, like, it says what it is. It is just building relationships. It's just like a person talking to another person, you know? There's no pressure to it. And so that's what I really like about it. And by the end of this video, my goal is to maybe not convert you to full-blown extroverts about the topic, because, little secret, I still get very nervous in these situations, but I also love it, so it's a little weird. But by the end of this video, I'm hoping that you feel a little bit more confident in your relationship building skills, and that you walk away knowing like what you can do right now to start building on that. And we're going to talk about tactics that are in person as well as online. So if you're still a little nervous about getting out there, don't worry, we're going to have something for you. So the first tip is really simple. It's just to give more than you take. It's to always leave the other person feeling like you genuinely care about them and you're actually interested in what they had to say. And by the way, you should actually care and should actually be interested. This is not the type of thing where I'm asking you to fake it. I am saying find a genuine connection and make it and show them that you actually care. Second thing is to make sure you're getting out there and meeting people. So this is the in-person element that I was talking about. It is really important when you can to go out and go to conferences or shows or in-person meetups, because it's true that there is no better opportunity for connection than face-to-face. Like, it is really powerful. So find opportunities, and if they don't exist, just create them on your own. And so this is the first actionable item that I'm gonna give you guys today, and that is to find at least 3 to 5 things that you can get out and do in person. And this can be going to a show, it can be going to a meetup, or it can be something else, but it has to be some kind of networking opportunity. And then you have to get there and actually, talk to people and employ the first tactic. So that's the first actionable item. And you can find these opportunities just through asking around, but also through looking at Facebook groups. I'm going to give you a couple links below specific to the music industry. So if you are in the music industry, things to check out would be Balanced Breakfast, the Music Biz Besties meetup in Nashville. The Balanced Breakfast one is worldwide. There's a couple of them, but yeah, find a couple. That's your first task, and see what happens. I think you might be surprised. So speaking of Facebook groups, this is tip number 3 and action item number 3, which is to go out and join some Facebook groups and start interacting. I'm going to include a link below to 10 Facebook groups that are really, really good, especially if you're a musician, and just get in there and start providing value. This goes back to that first tip, give more than you take. So I think a good rule of thumb is if you're going to ask a question, if you're going to make your own post, then you should try to comment on at least 5 other people's posts and make sure that they're of value. So it doesn't count to comment and just say, congrats. You want to find something that you can give advice on. So try to do that and just sort of remember that like 5-to-1 ratio. But I think Facebook groups are a really powerful way to build connections. And for those of you that are introverts like me, it's a good way to kind of stay behind the scenes a little bit and test the waters while you're still getting comfortable. Next, this goes in line with back to being in person, and that is to go to conferences, specifically smaller conferences. So try to find a list of conferences that are specific to your industry and just get out there and go to them. Like, they're great learning opportunities, but they're really good networking opportunities. And the reason I suggest smaller ones as well is because when you're in the same room with the same, 100 or 200 people for a couple days in a row, you start to really get to know each other. And it's such a good spot because it's easy to turn to the person next to you and say, hey, or what'd you think of that? Or, can we share notes? Or, things like that. And it's also a lot easier to get in front of the panelists, honestly, at those small conferences. So I highly recommend that. And it's also a good way to get your feet wet. Personally, that was one of the first things I did when I was starting to break out of my shell and force myself out there. Was I started with small conferences because it was less intimidating. Lastly, when you do find someone that you want to build a relationship with, find common ground that has nothing to do with your industry. So nothing will turn somebody off more than if you just go up to them and like, hey, can I get your advice on this? Like, there's nothing wrong with that, but that puts them in work mode, right? It's like when someone comes up to me and they say, hey, can I get your advice on PR? I'm happy to talk to them, but I am in work mode, right? But if they come up to me and they say, hey, I saw this photo of your dog, it's adorable, or they comment on one of my photos of, an ice cream sundae and tell me how amazing it looks, like that is a very real connection for me. And I love my dog, I love dessert, I love food. So if they're connecting with me about things that I'm really excited about that have nothing to do with work, to me that's just like two people talking about common ground. Like, that's how you build friendships, that's how you build relationships. So find common ground, try to engage with people on their social media about the things that they post that have nothing to do with music, and that's how you're going to start to really build those bonds. So that wraps up video 2. I would love to know what your number one takeaway from this video was, and of course just any questions you have. So again, thank you for being here. Next video we're going to start to dive into some of the strategy behind actually building those media lists and pitching, and we're going to work together. I'm even going to provide you an actual template that you can use to create your own pitch. So I will see you guys then. Thank you again for being part of this, and I'll see you soon.